this weird thing? When I get really upset, batteries die and the lights flicker. So maybe I am more powerful than I've ever imagined energetically. Anyway, back to me being gaslit and my son being used as a pawn in a parental alienation scheme. I never wanted my son to have to choose between his mother or father. Oh yeah, let me tell y'all the story. I almost forgot about this tidbit. Let me tell y'all the story about the Easter that was my Easter with my son, and my ex texted me and said, "You better be there because I'm so important." I was going to CPCC and my house was across the street, and I spent all of my time in a lab working. Oh yeah, and there's also the tidbit that my ex hired a private investigator to follow me. Nothing came out of that either. So I leave the lab and I'm sitting on my porch waiting for my kid. 11 o'clock, no Wildo. 11:15, no Wildo. 11:20, no Wildo. I text him, I'm leaving, I'm going back to school. No, I'm almost there. Why is it if you're not the narcissist, you're expected to regulate everyone's emotions and feelings, even the children? I'm supposed to be a saint, a virgin, a saint. I think I was just supposed to jump off a cliff or into a volcano, but anyway. So the next thing I know, they're pulling up. And I walk up to the car. And I tell my ex to lower the window. And I look at my son who is in his little booster seat. And I say, "Aiden, honey," in my calmest voice, because that's what women have to do. We have to be calm. We have to be cool. We have to be collected. Saints and virgins. It's another thing. When I get mad, there's a thunderstorm. When I let myself get really mad, there's always a damn thunderstorm. So women, y'all are more powerful than you know. But anyway, I lean in and I say, "Aiden, honey, go sit on the porch. I need to talk to Daddy." And I wait. And I told my son to go sit on the porch. And I lean in and I whisper, because women, we don't yell. We don't get to yell. Ooh, I love thunder. I whisper, "My time is also important. Stop fucking with me." And the next thing I knew, my ex was throwing his car in reverse. He did not look in the rearview mirror and he ran over our son's foot with the fucking car. And then he leaped out, he grabbed his son and went into Gone with the Wind mode. "I'm taking him with me. I'm taking him with me." No, you're not. It's my time. And I have to ground myself. Ground myself. Let me just hold him. Let me hold him. And there were people walking back and forth to school. So if there hadn't been witnesses, it would have been a child abduction. And they were black guys, and he knows that his white card would not have worked. So he went and got in his car and he sat there on the phone. Guess who he called? It was not an ambulance, it was his lawyer. So I put my son in the car and I took him to Presbyterian Hospital, and of course he followed us. And of course he went into his Shakespeare monologue from drama school. And of course the social worker was right out of college and white. And I told her to get a police officer. And of course he was talking over me. So of course I said, he can talk, I'll wait my turn, because that's what women do. We wait our turn. And the social worker came in and said, "Ma'am, I don't think he meant to do it." And she was scared to death because she didn't know what to do. And I said, "I don't care if he meant to do it. He needs anger management classes." My son's foot was not broken, and we got back to my house, and I gave my son one of my after-school moment monologues about anger and resentment. And I was this close to going and filing for a restraining order. And my son looked at me and said, "But Mommy, I just want my daddy to be a hero." Do you think I wanted to put my son through that? My son was about 7. So I didn't. The thunder sounds good, doesn't it? Women are claiming their power and their throat chakra. Fast forward to 2016. Thanksgiving. My son, by then, he's 11, almost 12. His birthday is in February. And he was watching and willingly participating in my dehumanization. and disassociating. He asked me to buy him a magic wand, and me being stupid, I did. Can you guys imagine what it was like to have a man commit suicide in front of you just because you said no? No. I said no, and a guy pulled out a gun and hesitated because men project, and women, men and women project their fantasies onto the other sex. And he thought, if I can get her, she will spend the rest of her life preaching to me and giving me energy because I am an incubus. My mother is a succubus. The only reason Wigglewagon did not kill me is because he knew my children, and his parents are religious and he was scared, though he knows there is no hell. Do you know I have still felt his energy stalking me? Because I think the reason this incubus loves beautiful, kind and courageous women is because we have been regulating them since time began. And I'm not regulating anybody but me now. I live alone. So, Thanksgiving rolls around. I took my son and my daughter on a road trip to my hometown in West Virginia. I drove there and drove back, and I had a nervous breakdown. And my son knows it. It's funny because we stopped. We were driving up the road and in West Virginia, and my son said, "Hey, Mom, you never let me eat McDonald's. Can you take me to have McDonald's?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I got him McDonald's, and he said, "I don't know what the big deal is about McDonald's." And I said, "Yeah, except it's poison and petrochemicals." So my son remembers all of this. Because I took my son to my great-grandmother's home. And I took my son to my grandmother's home. And guess what? Nobody was home. I knocked on the door and I walked in the home looking for my dead grandmother because I was in psychosis. Walking psychosis. And I drove back to Charlotte. This was the day before Thanksgiving. And I drove back to Charlotte. And guys, I am extremely psychic. I knew all of it was a setup. I knew that my son was trying to play both sides against the middle because he is a product of his mother's family and his father's family, and he is very attention seeking, and he wanted the bidding war. He wanted 2 Christmases. My son never cared about me, and he still doesn't. And I felt it, and I knew it. And I was done. And I crashed out on Thanksgiving Day. I had a psychotic break, and I beat the wheels off of my almost 12-year-old. And the woman that I was subsidizing, who knew that my ex is a narcissist, instead of taking my son and getting a hotel room, or if I hurt my son so bad, taking him to the hospital, she called the narcissist, because women and their daddy wounds, she was adopted. And even though she married a narcissist, her daddy wound was way more important than protecting me from me. I needed the ambulance. I needed the ambulance. Lisa needed the ambulance. And through that moment, all of the sudden, all of my burdens of regulating the emotions of children or women trapped in the patriarchy disappeared, because my ex-husband went and got a 1-year restraining order. And I had a year of peace where I didn't feel like I needed to save my son. And you know what? My ex did me a solid, because I have a daughter who I will talk about on my time, who is severely autistic, and her father is severely narcissistic and bipolar and God knows what else. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So my ex called his enemy, who is his friend now, and he got emergency temporary custody of my daughter. Thank you. Nobody should have to co-parent with narcissists. So I was liberated that day. I was liberated from codependency that day. I was liberated from regulating another soul's emotions that day. And that was the beginning of the end of me performing for the patriarchy or narcissists. Women, do not have children if you know you're not on equal financial footing. Do not have children as a way to regulate your emotions. Do not have children if you fetishize childhood, do not have children if you just don't know what the next thing you're supposed to do. Matter of fact, humans are parasitic, and we should all stop breeding. Let the planet heal. Let our second chakras heal. Children are not puppies or kittens. You have to raise them to be disciplined, driven, self-starting, self-motivating, motivated individuals that are accountable for regulating their own emotions. I cannot stand my ex-husband's wife because she would lie to me for him. That story about me walking into the YMCA to see what was to hang out with my kid. I just wanted to hang out with my kid, and she told me that his dad was coming to get him. That was a lie, because when I could see the lie on my kid's face, and I wasn't going to make a scene, because we don't make scenes. We're white people. White people don't make scenes. I walked out of the YMCA, and his stepmother was in the carpool line following the orders of her Lord and Savior and God. That was the beginning of the end for me. That's why I did not want joint custody of my daughter or my son Aiden, because I will not participate in the patriarchy and be complicit in my own dehumanization ever again. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.